We're kicking off the new year with a special edition of Transmissions. We bring together an epic podcaster crossover panel from TFcon Baltimore 2024. Darryl and Charles are joined by fellow Transformers podcasters from Radio Free Cybertron, Realm of Collectors, More Than Meets the Ear, and Swerve's Bar. Today is Wednesday, January 1st, 2025, and this is episode 623 of Transmissions.
All right, thanks everyone for hanging out till the bitter end. This is the TFcon Podcasters panel, so we like to close out the show just to do a little fun recap of the show, see how everyone enjoyed it, and also promote our podcast at the same time, just because that's panel has its privileges, I guess. But everyone, thanks for hanging out with us. I know it's the end of the day. Everyone's wrapped up, but we'll have a little fun for the last panel. Of course, we've got. So if you have seen my son walking around the TFcon floor for the last couple days with the tier list, we've got the final results of the tier list for the panel. So that'll be towards the end. So everyone get ready for that. So first off, just we'll introduce ourselves. My name is Charles, aka Big C. I'm part of the Transmissions podcast, and we do two shows every week. One focused on toys, one focused on media. We also have a Transformers Live Play RPG podcast called Empire of Rust, and that's once every 2 weeks, and that's done by a group of RPG fans who wanted to do a Transformers-themed RPG. So think of Transformers Dungeons and Dragons. They've done a podcast on it, and it's not the only one. So you'll hear more about that too. So.
I remember how we're supposed to move these. My name's Darryl, and I go by Cybertronian Beast, and I am also on Transmissions, and I do all the same shows. So I also do a Patreon only show called We Like Big Bots, and that's a fun show that is very rarely done, but we have 12 episodes. Is it 14? Oh, we have 14 of those. So all the other shows that we do, and they're we're good. I do all those too.
Hello, my name is Don, Headmaster Don. You may have heard of me. I am on Radio Free Cybertron, the internet's original Transformers podcast, started in 1999. We just celebrated our 25th anniversary earlier this month. Thank you. It was started by Brian Kilby. He could not be here this weekend, so I've been asked to help out. We do one show a week on Wednesday evenings. If you're a Patreon, you can become. We have a Discord, and then if you're a Patreon, you can get access to the pre-show information where we talk about everything about food, Star Trek, more Star Trek, lots of Star Trek in the pre-show, as a matter of fact. I'm glad to be here. I haven't been to a panel in about 5 years, and I'd like to publicly thank my wonderful, patient, understanding wife, Christy, for coming with me this weekend. So thank you, hon.
What's up, everybody? My name is Derek B. You all know me from the Realm of Collectors YouTube channel. The shows that I am on normally are Monday nights, ETR, Into the Realm. You'll also see me on Tuesday, every other Tuesday, for our show called Do You Even Transform, Bro? These shows are formatted in live. They're formatted live. We perform live, and we're basically having group discussions. We're talking about what's going on lately in the fandom. We're also talking about, the latest and greatest news in the Transformers community. And, we're a community-based, community-driven podcast and collector community. So check us out whenever you get a chance. I also do some side work for the Transmissions podcast, as I've been with them for a few years. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't be in the position I am without these guys. So I just wanted to publicly acknowledge that. And as a matter of fact, I've done a couple of bumpers for them, as I also do voiceover work as well. I actually do the outros.
How could you not with that voice?
You said what?
How could you not do voice work with that voice, man?
He's like y'all's on John DeLuna.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I do the outros for the Empire of Rust podcast. If you want to get a sneak preview of that, check that out, or I can give it to you right now. And without holding up the thing, I'll just give you a little tease of it. And where should I start? I can start with Empire of Rust. It's written and GM'd by Michael Ordway. Detective Magnum and his partner Pythagoras are played by Matthew G. Ambassador Sweet Spot, councilman of the when y'all hear it, it's edited, so I don't have time to make all these mistakes. So but that's the gist of what I do, and please check us out on the Realm of Collectors YouTube channel whenever you can.
It's like Victor Caroli is in the room with you.
Wait, Victor Caroli was here this whole time? I missed that?
You never knew.
So I'm Josh. I'm with More Than Meets the Ear. We talk about Transformers Cybertron. And
Everything but Transformers Cybertron.
And also randomly break out into song. That just kind of happens when you get musical theater people together.
So you're a My Little Pony podcast too? Breaking out into song randomly? Wow.
I think I just said the whole
Okay.
thing.
Hi guys, I'm Trish. I'm a part of More Than Meets the Ear, and also I'm on Swerve's Bar podcast, where I go by Clickbait, and on Swerve's Bar, on More Than Meets the Ear. It's been a long day. Like Josh said, we talk about Transformers Cybertron and everything but. And then on Swerve's Bar podcast, we talk about the various iterations of Transformers comics. We do movie reviews as they come out. We do Q&As with various actors and voice actors that are part of the Transformers community. And then we also do a Transformers D&D homebrew, which we are currently developing our own player's handbook for. And then our podcast comes out every other Monday for the comic reviews and every other Saturday for the D&D. Swerve's Bar podcast. Mm-hmm.
Hi, my name is Frankie. I go by Kilobyte on Swerve's Bar podcast. I'm one of the other hosts. I help DM the D&D, and we, like Clickbait mentioned, we do Q&As with voice actors and members of the community, artists, and we just review the comics and shows and just have a blast. So, good to be here.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, let's talk about everyone's high points for the show. So I'm sure everyone got to pick up some goodies here. I know there's a lot of different toys out there, and let's talk about your favorite pickup for what you got at the con this time. Go ahead, Darryl.
Oh, I gotta start. Well, I picked you up. No, actually, I drove
You
here.
already had me.
No, I picked up a couple things. The one thing I really wanted to get, and I really didn't come here with a list, but I decided when I got here that I was going to try and find Studio Series 86 Optimus, and I did. And for the entirety of Saturday, that's the only thing I bought. And so that was pretty good. And then Miguel, or Logos Minor from a now defunct podcast, I guess. Steel City Bots. Yeah, they don't. Yeah, there you go. Hey, yeah. And he had all the tools here to do the pin fix on the feet. So we did that yesterday, and that was kind of cool. Get to do some live repairs, which I always find fun. Yes, sir.
Why? It's a minor fix. It doesn't really achieve that.
Perfectionism, right? I needed it to be perfect, so I wanted to fix it. So yeah, I did that, and but I found a couple other things today. I bought a bunny rabbit. Yeah, Stampy. But no, other than that, nothing really major. Yeah.
All right, Don.
I came with my wife, and I brought some stuff to sell, so my sales were pretty good. So I picked up the 2 Combaticons for Ruination. I wasn't planning on doing Ruination, but then I saw how nice it was, and I was like, damn. So I, in person, added to cart and got both of them, so I'll be working on Ruination. picked up the remastered G2 Starscream to go with my Ocular Max G2 Bruticus, because we all know G2 is one of the best things in the world. And the other unexpected find was I found the Hinkai phasing Mirage in the clear and the black, which is something I've been looking for quite a while, and actually was able to pick it up. The only thing I didn't find was a Masterpiece Dinobot, for which my wallet is probably grateful. So that's what I picked up this week.
So I picked up the new MMC tapes, the Senator Ratbat repaint, the Rumble Frenzy Senator Ratbat repaint for those. And I also, a buddy of mine gifted me with a Studio Series Optimus Prime, which I'm very much looking forward to putting my hands on finally. Big fan of the Studio Series line that's been coming out so far. Have y'all been getting it as well? Cool. But yeah, I'm just really looking forward to putting my hands on that. And that's all. I think that's all I picked up. And for a favor for a buddy of mine, he wanted Frank Welker's signature on a picture, so I stepped in and did that for him. He's all the way in Arizona, so he couldn't make the trip, so he asked me to do it, and we arranged everything, and got a chance to see Frank again, and it was an absolute pleasure to see him as always. And yeah, that was my pickups, because as you come to these a whole lot of years, you notice that you have more than enough Transformers, G.I. Joe, all that stuff. And and I could say, my girlfriend's sitting right here, her name's Sean, and she can attest and tell you about our storage space. Is looking crazy right now because it is overflowed with a lot of stuff that I should be either offloading or, just actually playing with. But I developed a new rule. I developed a rule for myself, which states, if I'm not going to display it, I'm not going to buy it. So it's been really, serving me well so far, but sometimes I do find myself still buying because I make excuses. I'm going to play this one. I'm going to play with this one on my desk. So, so now it's a desk bot. So yeah, y'all learned about that too. But that's it for me.
I think for me, I didn't buy all that much, I say, as I contemplate the almost complete set now of Studio Series 86 Dinobots.
Yes.
I saw Grimlock in the dealer room on Friday night while they were setting up, and then I couldn't find him after that. Yeah. But he's the one I'm still missing.
The booth behind Chosen Prime?
It may have been.
All of them. They had every last one of them.
Wow. Dang it.
3 each.
Wow. So that must have gone before I was able to make it in on Saturday to actually buy it. But the big event thing for me that happened, honestly, was just hanging out with some of the Cyberverse voice actors in particular. Jeremy Levy was just such a wonderful person to sit and chat with and hear his stories. It turns out most of the Cyberverse cast has a background in musical theater, so we just all were riffing on that for a good long while, and that was just a lot of fun.
Travis Arts still wants a Hot Rod musical. And in case you ever ask him, he is looking for a Hot Rod musical. I didn't really get a chance to buy much this weekend. I've seen some of you over the course of this weekend. I spent most of the weekend with Frank Welker. So I did not have I had all of probably 30 minutes to shop this weekend. But I did manage to pick up some of the pins, these fun wooden pins that are made by one of the other staff members that I do enjoy going around and getting signed throughout the weekend. And yeah, that's pretty. I didn't get a chance to buy anything.
I myself didn't get much either, but I did pick up the Kingdom Arc. But the main reason why I got it, is because I want to make a custom of one of our D&D characters, because we have a starship that joins our players in one of the campaigns, that's named Luna Star, and so I really want to figure out that character. So I'm just going to make a costume one.
So you have the one that we got you at the last convention.
Yep, for displaying.
This one.
Yes.
Okay. Is this one at least complete?
Yes.
Oh, okay. The other one wasn't complete. But...
All right, I guess I'll go last. I also picked up one of the Senator Radbat exclusive. I actually didn't know about that until seeing it in the third-party panel yesterday, so I quickly ran to the ages 3 and up booth to see if there were any left, and I wound up getting the last one. So I was really happy I was able to get that. I've also been collecting those the Find Your Fate Junior books from the 80s. So I had 6 of them, and I found the last 3. So I have the complete set of the Transformers Find Your Fate from the 80s. So
the sound you hear is my bones crumbling to dust. As he says, he's collecting them from the 80s. I had them growing up, so it's like that's just my bones are just disintegrating.
Hey, well, I was there in the 80s. I just never found those books. So It's All right. Well, now I think maybe we could each go through our highlights from the show, non-toy highlights from the show, and I'm going to start on the other end because my highlight is right here. So we'll save that for the very end. So maybe we'll start at the other end. What were your non-toy highlights for the show?
I think just seeing everybody having fun and talking about Transformers and what they're looking for in collecting. And I went up to some of the cosplayers and seeing their rigs and all the work they put into it and being like, hey, you like Transformers? I have this podcast. And then being like, oh, I listened to you. So that was also fun, just interacting with the fans and just having a blast with the community. So.
I also always enjoy getting to hang out with friends I haven't seen in a while, making new friends, chatting with the voice actors and the cosplayers that I haven't met before who are wearing super awesome stuff. And then I also really enjoy getting to watch how people who go through meeting, some of the bigger voice actors, or if I'm sitting with a smaller actor, how each of those actors has impacted someone else's life is always really cool to watch and get to experience with them. So I thought that was probably one of the biggest highlights.
I think for me, probably the biggest highlight was the script reading. The way we have the attendees join in through the voice actors actually judging their auditions. You never know who's going to get in from the many different opinions judging who wins. So I'm sitting back there tallying all the scores, helping out, just counting numbers. And I look at this sheet, and the sheet I've got tallies up my girlfriend as having the highest number. So I have to pass it through to every other staff member, be like, please confirm that I have done this right, and you see that this is not me rigging the thing. But I got to read with my girlfriend in the script reading, and that was delightful.
I think the biggest highlight for me was all of the after parties that happened after the shows. So there was 2 that I actually went to Saturday. One was, everyone knows Bobby Skullface. He threw a party for his Patreon supporters, and that was an absolute blast. Got a chance to experience an orange crush for the first time. I'm not a drinker. I'm not a drinker myself, but it was kind of a enlightening feel, I would say the least. So I've noticed that I'm more social after a drink. So, yeah. And y'all see me be social with y'all, but I was like way more social after an orange crush. I'm gonna get another one after this one. But we also had the Transformers ERC group, and yeah, no. She said no, he's not gonna have another one. Yeah, I am. Yeah, meet me at the bar. We had after party with the Transformers ERC group, the Exclusives, Repaints, and Customs group, headed by Sanjay Kasuri and his gang. I don't know if you ever heard of Sony from TM Reviews. It's basically their group, and got together with them, had an absolutely great time. I heard there's a video out there of me singing karaoke and dancing, and I need to get it right away because I need to erase it off the internet. And but yeah, Orange Crush. Shout out to Orange Crush. But yeah, this is the thing for me. Every time we get to go to do these shows, we get to go to different conventions. It's like a family reunion to me, and getting to see all the people that I've seen over the years, including everyone at this table. I haven't met the gentleman at the end. We'll talk. We'll talk afterwards. But yeah, everyone else, I've known them a long time, and it's always a pleasure to see each and every last one of you all. And and for the attendees that actually I see at literally every kind of show, it's just like, it's like a family reunion to me, and it means a lot because it's like I like seeing y'all more than my own family sometimes. It's like, I look forward to these type of events where we get together and not just talk about toys, but just talk about each other, check in with everyone to see how everyone is doing, and just genuinely just love being around everyone. And it's just a great feel to know that you have people that you have a common interest with, and you find out, and it goes beyond Transformers. So that was really cool, and it's always cool to be able to experience that, and that's what I got out of the weekend.
Well, being one of the older Transformer fans, I've got 21 BotCons under my belt, and I've been to every BotCon but one. And seeing all these people that are still in the fandom, even if I can't remember their names because it all blurs after a while, but seeing the faces, reconnecting with people, finding out if they're doing okay, that's one of the big things for me. Is I have so many friends from this universe that we're in. And it's nice to reconnect with them beyond an email or a text or whatever the case may be. One of the big highlights for me was I went back and talked to Mr. Hill, who wrote Starscream's Brigade and The Gambler, which are two of my favorite episodes of all time. And I asked him, Mr. Hill, there's something that's been bugging me for 35 years. He said, what? I said, in Starscream's Brigade, they keep making it a plot point. They don't have enough energy absorbers, and they have to get 5 for the Combaticons. Then the next scene, they're recharging. What happened? Because I don't think it was not written in. He says, I have absolutely no idea. I didn't know that's how it ended up. And so he said, contact him after the show through Facebook. It's like, maybe after 35 years, I'll find out what the hell happened. But that was one of the highlights. I got to talk to David Wise a couple of times before he passed away. So talking to the writers, y'all know Rebirth. Rebirth is my favorite. I can't help it. But yeah, talking to the writers, hearing some of the Earthspark cast, because I have not been to a show since Earthspark has started. So hearing some of them and some of their stories. So yeah, just reconnecting with friends, connecting with new people I've not been able to deal with. That's what it was for me. Just being around my kind of people.
Well, I think for me, it kind of all started back when we were, it culminated this weekend, but it started back when we really just started doing the podcast, and we've been doing it for 11 years. And we started reading the More Than Meets the Eye and Robots in Disguise comics, and really quickly the More Than Meets the Eye comics really started to be the favorite in my eyes. And I really quickly told everybody, look, I'm much more of an art guy than a story guy, and if the art sucks, I'm not going to be interested in the book. Luckily, More Than Meets the Eye was killer art, thanks to a Mr. Alex Milne. Fast forward to this weekend, and I'm rooming with Alex Milne, and I drove him here. So, it's come quite a long way, and that's really my highlight of the weekend is is somebody who I idolize their art is now a buddy. And I get to spend a lot of time. 9 hours is a lot of time to spend with Alex Milne. I'll point that out. It's quite a lot of time, but he's a real gem. And to be able to kind of ask those kind of art questions and those deep, more than meets the eye questions and stuff like that is at any given time is kind of a privilege. Yeah, so that's my highlight.
All right, yeah, so my highlight, I mean, everything everyone said here, I agree with, just getting the chances to see everyone again, getting the chance to just hang out with the Transformers community, seeing how large and diverse it is, in terms of seeing really young kids to teenagers to young adults to people our age and, people, second generation fans, everything, that's amazing. And that is really something that hit me this weekend, is that my son turned into, a fan that I think is better than me in terms of being able to get response from all the fandom here in the show floor, and being able to just watch him interact with people and get so much response from people. And I was really surprised by how much that my son did here for just doing this really simple idea of a Transformers show tier list, but then taking it out and just giving everyone a chance to make their decisions for the tier list. So, and this was all his idea. He didn't even tell me about it before we came to the show, and went out and did it on the floor. So I want to just give the results of the final results of the tier list. I haven't even seen this yet, so I don't know what it is. I still have my own swap that I haven't done yet. So if there's anything I don't like, I can do the last thing.
It's dead.
So let's see what happened. What did TFcon choose for the top tier shows here? So let's see. All right. So F tier, we have Transformers Armada and Transformers Generation 2. C tier, Transformers Prime and Beast Wars.
Ouch.
B tier, Transformers G1, Robots in Disguise 2015, and Cyberverse.
Oh, wow.
A tier is Earthspark and Transformers Animated. Okay. And S tier is Transformers Beast Machines.
I'm so disappointed in TFcon.
Wow,
Excuse me, Cybertron's not on there. I want to recount.
I can't. Yeah, I'm sorry. I thought you started at the top and said G2 was number one. I misunderstood. No, I deny this reality and substitute my own.
So there's one more statistic. Actually, my son was smart and gave us another statistic. So since this is just the last decision, whoever was last got to make the final decision. But he actually kept track of how many times each of these each of these shows was in the S tier. So maybe that'll be another statistic we can see here. So
I'm surprised Beast Machines was even mentioned.
Yeah, same.
Wow.
The Beast Machine lobby is alive and well.
So Earthspark was in the top spot 2 times.
Mm-hmm.
Armada was in the top spot 3 times. Cyberverse was in the top spot 4 times. Beast Machines was in the top spot 4 times as well. Our Transformers Animated was in the top spot 8 times.
Wow.
Beast Wars and Transformers Prime were in the top spot 9 times.
I knew it. This is rigged.
And in the top spot 10 times, G1.
Shocker. That's a true shocker.
So depending on how you want to make the final ranking, that's another statistics for you. So
When did the poll go out? Or polls go out with it? Oh, he's been walking around?
Yeah.
Next time.
Oh,
I like
man,
that.
you didn't talk to enough people, man. Goodness. Oh, my goodness.
he went through this. He was on the show floor for several hours, getting a lot of opinions.
Wow, man. I'm surprised. Okay, personally, Transformers Prime, I think, should have been top tier.
I agree on this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing. G1 will always be, considered because it's G1, and you gotta give it its props because that's how everything got to where it is now. But Beast Machine, how Beast Machines get on? I'm still gonna say.
I don't know how Beast Machines.
So I don't know how Beast Machines got on that.
Remember, this is not a majority vote. This is just the last person. Whoever was the last person to make a swap, they made that decision. It was only 4 times total. So
yeah,
And it was tied with what now? Because it was tied with something, wasn't it?
it was. I mean, it's moved around a lot. So it was only in the top spot 4 times. It was in the top spot 4 times.
You should do tally votes next time. Like you drop like just mark a tally for it so that you get an overall vote as opposed to whichever one ends up being last.
This was more fun.
Yeah.
Well, I think G2 should be number 1 because G2 named G1 initially, and if G2 had not done as well, we wouldn't have Beast Wars. So I think G2 is the link that keeps everything together. So I think G2 should have been number 1.
I think we would have got Beast Wars anyway because Hasbro employees needed work. And, but yeah, no, Beast, because my top shows is G1, Beast Wars, Transformers Prime.
Yeah.
In that order.
What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Which one should be on top?
Oh no, yeah, animated was good
and your
too.
Prime. What about this side of the room? Oh God.
I don't know who you are, but I like you.
I literally watched voice actors go, I don't know any of these shows. I was in this one and put it in this.
Really?
In some ways.
Wow.
We definitely ran into a few people that were simply agents of chaos, and we're just like, we know this one should be at the top, but we're gonna put it at the bottom just to see what happens.
Wow.
So.
Yeah, this is not a way to fairly get the consensus opinion. This is more to generate anger and hatred and rage.
Oh, well, it's working great then.
I want to see the.
This is how you go viral.
I want to see the bell curve of the over under on this because that thing is like.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, just seeing the imagination my son put into this and doing this for this weekend, that's my high point for the show. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And shout out to everybody that participated in this because at the same time, a lot of these shows in here is their G1. Mm-hmm. What does that mean? It means that it was the show that introduced them into the Transformers universe. So, of course, they're going to highly regard that particular show. So for the ones that saw Beast Machines for the first time and that introduced you into Transformers, I'm so sorry.
Who was in the 07 screening last night?
I hope that you were able to backtrack.
Was anybody in the room in the 07 screening last night?
I couldn't do it again.
That was nuts. This room was crazy last night. I came here to see what was going on. Wow. I have never experienced that before. That was crazy. Every time a character appeared on the screen, the room went crazy. Every time a transformation happened, crazy. Every time a line was said, I mean, it happens in the 86 movie too, but they were shouting the lines. It was nuts. I've never experienced that before.
Was Bayverse an option on the tiers?
No, this is just shows. Yeah.
But what about cyber missions?
What's that?
Oh, yeah.
For those who don't know, Cyber Missions was a web series based around Bayformers. It came out around like 2010-ish. It was with the Hunt for the Decepticons line. It was mostly promoting those toys specifically.
I vote next year G1 is kept out just to be fair to everything else, and then Rescue Bots is an option as well.
You know what?
We'll have to workshop for the next con. See what we could maybe.
One for one and one for the movies too.
Yeah, we could do movie. We also do comics. That's another option too. So that's it.
More Than Meets the Eye is going to win that one.
Yeah.
And the machinima one, huh? That one's easy. Yeah.
So comics, Marvel, Dreamwave, or IDW,
Or Skybound.
I need her, Image.
or Image. Yeah.
Everybody reading the Image comics? Yeah?
You guys all caught up?
No, I've only read the first trade. I'm waiting for the second one.
Now, Don.
I was reading IDW.
Anybody else?
I gave up.
Selling the books and you're waiting for the trade?
Is anyone else collecting the different covers and wishing that they weren't making like 8 of each issue? Because it's killing my wallet.
Do you have all 100 covers for the first issue?
I have many of them.
You know the thing about going into comic book shops, because they're not just doing it with Transformers, they're doing it with all the books now. I'm biased to think that Transformers actually started that trend, because you have all different types of artists for all the Transformers books, and then they started out with having 2 different covers. Then it became 4. Then it became 6. Then it became 8. And then there were different price tiers for each of those ones. The most expensive comic cover that I've bought for a Transformers comic was $20. Actually, no. Thinking about it, no, it was way more than $20. No, because they've had covers up there like $50, $60.
I've
and I was
paid
just like,
$100 multiple times.
did you?
Yeah.
Oh.
Casey. Listen, we all have our
Oh yeah,
places.
yeah.
And I still
She
don't
bought one
have the
for
Casey
me.
Collar Killing Joke cover from the last run.
Well,
Keep doing that. Therapy's more expensive.
Therapy's not more expensive than HasLab Unicron, which you own.
Anyways.
I've got a friend that runs a comic book shop not far. I've known him for 30 years. And he told me that every time they offer like an exclusive cover, they have to order like every 50 copies you get an extra cover of XYZ. And then if you order another 50 on top of that, you can get another cover. So to get these special covers, they have to order insane amounts of regular product just to, it's like free comic book day.
And then there's some that you can only get one per store. Or one per region, regardless
So yeah,
of
that's
how many you order.
So I get it, but I'm also like, I'll take a picture of it on my phone. I got it. I'm good.
Artificial scarcity.
Yep.
It's just a piece of paper. The book size is the same.
But it's
Pay for a piece of paper.
Sometimes it doesn't.
But that artist is God. That's why. Yeah.
What? It's Andrew Wildman?
Who?
I didn't know Morgan Freeman drew Transformers covers.
Man, but Daniel Warren, I had saw him at New York Comic Con last year when they released the after they finished Void Rivals, and you know, he had the. I'm shouting him out because he did such a cool thing. He said they had gave away some of the comics after one of the Hasbro panels, and he said, if you want to sign, come on down, and you know, I'll sign them for you free of charge. So we got down there, the Artist Alley. It was a line from like right here to all the way where that guy is, right in the back, sitting in the backwards in the seat. And you know, every time you thought the line was dying down, it gets back full again. But I say that to say this because most of the known popular artists, they were charging for their autographs there, and he didn't want to be like that. He was just like, nah, just come downstairs, I'll sign your book. And as a matter of fact, he had another variant cover that, you know, you can actually purchase, and he would sign that too. Now, if I'm buying a comic and I'm spending more than $10 for that particular cover, you're damn right I want my daggone things signed for free. I'm not paying you for a signature too. Come on now. But now, I just wanted to shout out him for that, man, because that was a real good gesture that he did for that. Most artists are like that too, even the ones that you've seen here. So, because I remember one year, I saw you coming here with a crate. Yeah.
Him?
No, it was you.
Me? Yeah.
It was you. You came in here with a crate. He had a crate full of comics that he just wanted to sign. I'm like, yo, and I think you were chasing. You were getting signatures from Bob Budiansky at the time. I can't remember the other ones, but I was like, yo, are they gonna all sign those for free?
I mean, it wasn't for one guy, but I spread it out. I can understand how that's intimidating. So I did break it down over the weekend.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I would only bring like 5 or 6 out at a time for each person. So
I just remember wheeling that cart around. It was one of those milk crates. Was it a milk crate?
No, it was just a short.
Was it a box?
It was a short box.
It was a short box. Okay,
Yeah, it was a short box. Yeah, I'm not
Funny, I
I'm not a
distinctly
crazy
remember.
person.
I distinctly remember, and I don't remember which member of Transmissions podcast it was, but I distinctly remember one member of Transmissions podcast with a this thick stack of books just plop it down on somebody's table one year.
It was him.
I'm not surprised.
Which artist was it?
I think it was Roberts, actually.
No, it was. Yeah. It was, as a matter of fact. Between him and Alex, he was getting a lot.
For the we had a table one year at the Chicago TFcon, and everyone was setting up. We were there early, and I brought in my comics. And for a table basically this size, I spread out comics the entire length of the table, both sides. And I said, hey, to the artists, I said that were coming in, I said, you guys can save yourselves and myself a lot of time if you just sign these all right now. Yeah. And they just went through and they just signed them all, and we were done. And I was so happy. They were so happy. It saved so much time. But yeah, I did do the thing with the stack once, just as a joke, because it's such a dick move. But it was a joke.
I've sat with a few of the comic artists and comic writers that we've had at the show, and people will do that. They'll come up, I sat with Bob Budiansky last year. They'll come up with a stack of 50 comics and be like, I want these, and then they'll call over the CGC guy, and they want them all witnessed and slabbed and graded, and so we're there for an hour. And I'm like, oh my God, this is ridiculous.
I mean, there's tact, which some of them apparently don't understand the concept of.
No.
Wow.
All right, I think we're running a little bit long here, so let's give our.
An hour, so we're almost.
They give us an hour? Okay, all right. Well, let's.
Do you have any questions?
Well, yeah. If anyone has any questions, you can come up. I think the mic here should work, but.
Or you can just say
Questions, comments, concerns, insights?
There's nothing we can do about it, but
we can hear you.
I mean, we want the mic to pick it up so we can get it on the. We're record. We podcast, so we record this and we upload it to the internet so other people can listen to it. And if they're listening to it in their headphones and it's silence, and then you're answering a question, they don't know what the question was. It's a kind of weird listening experience.
After party inquiries, we can do all that too.
No questions, great.
Any questions? Anyone here play D&D or any of the Transformers card games?
I love the animated series.
D&D?
Yeah, I love the animated D&D series. Does that
So confused.
not the movie.
The movie was good.
Oh, I was asking him, not you.
It's an open forum.
I got something. Can I ask? Okay. How did everybody like Transformers 1?
Oh, it was good.
Yeah. I'm telling you, it was great to be back in the theaters again when that one came out. I know, y'all want to talk about that one for a minute? I'm telling you. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I honestly think that movie came 17 years too late.
Yes.
It should have been the first one. When I looked at it, I watched it. Matter of fact, I've seen it about 12 times now. Mm-hmm. I've been actually, promoting it. But I think the key thing to that movie is that it really showed and kind of gave you a real good optic as to why Optimus never killed Megatron. Mm-hmm. How can you kill a friend? actual
Right.
brother. Even though you fight one of them and you're trying to, you really kick each other's ass every time you see each other. To put a gun to his head and actually pull the triggers is a little different. Megatron may see it otherwise, but another thing too, I kind of equated, I might be reaching here a little bit, like a Roman tragedy. If you see it, you see the tragedy of this one character after he was betrayed, and you kind of line it up to even, Orion Pax kind of betrayed him too, because he would put him into things without him really wanting to be there, right? So when you look at it, it's like the tragedy of the character of D16 really showed why he is the way he is.
Right.
And, before now, we always question, why does he hate Prime so much? Why did he kill Sentinel Prime? Well, now we know.
Yeah.
So it really kind of gave that strong framework about this here. So, great movie. I've been promoting it as much as I can. So, hey, you got to go and see this movie.
Yeah. Indeed.
I liked it. I liked it a lot. There's things I could nitpick on it. There's some things that I feel like they could have fleshed out a little better on, the lore and the background side of things. To me, the battle between Optimus and Megatron is one of the oldest historical and storytelling tropes that we see in media, dating all the way back to the beginning of storytelling. We see this conflict between somebody who's a little bit more peaceful and somebody who's more warrior-oriented, so you have this battle between the pen and the sword. That's what it's been throughout all of time. Transformers is Optimus, the pen, versus Megatron, the sword, and they're fighting this battle over the same concept, but they're taking different paths to get there, and eventually they're not able to work together. By taking them and putting them both in the same situation, in the same scenario, you lose a little bit of that, okay, we need to come together for a common cause, but personal ideals and methods of getting there can break that apart. And so you lose a lot of the heft of the conflict that you get by having them not have gone through different things. By making them go through the same thing, you lose a lot of the drive for the choices that they decide. But I still loved the movie. It was still great. I'm just always been such a big fan of Optimus as that peaceful librarian who learns to fight because he has to, and Megatron is that strong-headed warrior gladiator who learns how to talk to people because he has to. And they use these resources and these skills that they've learned off of each other, and that's why the war is so impactful and there's such heavy conflict, is because you have one bot who fights with knowledge and one bot who fights with power, and both of them pick up traces of the other, and that's the essence of the battle for Cybertron.
And we had a discussion on transmissions about whether or not Orion was kind of the almost the villain of the movie, based on the fact that he's a bad friend, right? He causes all this ruckus in the beginning, which puts D16 in a situation where he snaps, right? So if this part doesn't move, then this part doesn't move, right? And there's a case to be made for Orion to be the antagonist, right? Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's almost as if Orion Pax is simply kind of doing the same thing to setting them up for a lie.
Yeah, D16 is happy to sit in his ignorance for the rest of his existence, right? And is it good that Orion pushes him out of it? Do you want to, is more knowledge better? A lot of people say yes, but is it that knowledge broke him, right? And he probably should have stayed in his little bubble. Right.
Well, it boils down to the old adage of like a hurtful truth or a helpful lie, kind of like you want to live a lie. One thing about Transformers 1 for me was the accessibility of a non-Transformers fan to be brought into the fandom, because all the Bayverse stuff is pretty much you have to know a lot and fill in the blanks. We shouldn't have had multiple comic series filling in the blanks on the Bayverse stuff before the first one, in between movies. We shouldn't have had to have all that to get in a movie franchise. And I think with Transformers 1, you have people like my wife who understands a lot of this stuff through osmosis from me, but being able to sit down and watch the movie without needing cliff notes at the bottom, I think that's the most wonderful thing, is that you sit down, you watch a movie, you get the backstory. If you want more, you can go find more, but you don't need it with Transformers 1. The story is there, and we'll just wait to see where it goes from there, if it does go anywhere. So I love the movie. I like the simplicity as far as coming off of all the Bayverse stuff. And again, I liked Bumblebee and I liked Rise of the Beast, but there's still a barrier to entry for a lot of people if you don't know who these Beast characters are running around and all that. So that's what I love, is the accessibility of the non-fans.
And it looks like we have a question.
You have a question?
Are you happy or conflicted with what they changed for TF1 in comparison to like the comics and stuff?
I'm actually happy because it introduces a new
Generation 1.
It introduces a new universe right now, because what we've gotten was a mixed bag of different things. Even in the with Bayformers, with the way they did it, and with the aligned continuity, it was I mean, it was great. But right now, in the now, with Transformers 1, it gives it the opportunity to start over fresh and continue that fire, that spark, that keeps going, that keeps all of us interested in the lore of the story of Cybertron and all the Cybertronians and all of that. Transformers 2 has to be a great following. Yeah. What I'm afraid of what's going to happen is that this is going to end up like, if you all played the video games War for Cybertron and Fall of Cybertron, both complemented each other very well, telling the story from beginning to end, to where they are getting ready to head to Earth at the end. They followed that up with Rise of the Darkspark, which was terrible. That's what I'm afraid of, because after 2 should be talking about the golden age of Cybertron and how the war is getting ready to start between the Autobots and the Decepticons.
I'm curious how much time they're going to take between the Golden Age, where Optimus is in charge, and the actual start of the war, because the war for Cybertron is fought over 2 things: the caste system, and resources.
Yes.
At the end of the first movie, the resource problem is solved.
Right.
They bring back all of the Energon. Now they have the opposite problem of needing to figure out, how do we take this away? Right,
because the Decepticons were banished from Iacon, and that's where the source actually exists. They're going to introduce Kaon in they should be introducing Kaon in the next series, but I don't know how they're going to go about that, because Kaon was actually supposed to exist alongside Iacon.
Right, but at the same point, Energon is supposedly restored to all of Cybertron, and thereby Kaon, so they'll have to establish a supply chain and production issue in order for them to be able to solve it.
I got you, yeah, that's true.
Work.
That's true.
Now we have the Quintesson problem, so they'll have to deal with that too.
And the Quintessons are in the middle, so where does the Decepticons play in regards to that? Because the whole thing about the Quintessons, Sentinel Prime was their connect to, I'm talking like a drug dealer. Sentinel Prime was the connection between the Quintessons and Cybertron, and how are they going to play into the next series? Are they going to try to bargain with the Decepticons like they did in season 3 of G1 Transformers and try to build that whole thing together with them and later get betrayed? I don't know. Who knows what's going to happen? Yeah. But Transformers 2 is going to be very vital to explain the continuation of what's going on with Transformers 1, and we need it to be successful. That's why we gotta support it as much as possible. They got a slow build at the beginning but everyone realized how great the movie was, and they went to see it. It came out on digital. Everybody bought the digital. I literally watched this movie at least 20 times at this point.
Does that answer your question? Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
You can sit down now.
Transformers is never a set continuity or a set canon that has to be guarded or could never be violated. It's always been a multiverse of lots of different stories, lots of different ways. Even from back in the beginning in the 80s in 1984, you already started with two separate continuities in the comics and the cartoons. So there's never a set established Transformers continuity that cannot be violated. It's always going to be tell a new story, bring something new to the franchise, add new ideas, new details to it, flesh it out, make it better. As long as it's a good story, as long as it's a fun story, it can be in Transformers. Yeah. If it, you judge the stories by whether they are good, they make good characters, they make compelling characters, tell compelling stories. That's what makes it good or bad, not whether it is adhering to some golden standard of Transformers continuity. And at least that's my opinion. So,
I think all of us need to remember that if something new comes out and it's not for us, that's fine. Mm-hmm. It does something new, like Transformers 1, does not erase what we like from existence. And a lot of people are afraid, this new thing means I can't enjoy that old thing. I don't like Beast Machines. I hate Beast Machines because I call it character assassination from what we did in Beast Wars. But if you like Beast Machines, I'm not mad. I don't know how you like it, but I'm not mad. You go with it. But if anyone takes anything away from this discussion, work with your friends and stuff. If it's something new and it's not for you, that's fine. It doesn't erase what you liked before. Everyone has a place at the table.
And that also applies to if it's something old and it's not for you in part of the whatever franchise you follow. Like especially with myself as a younger person getting into franchises like Transformers, Star Trek, Star Wars. These things have existed long before I did, and sometimes going back further and further in their history, I find stuff that just doesn't appeal to me because it's from a different era. That doesn't discount it, and that doesn't mean that it wasn't the foundation that the things I love so much are built on. Mm-hmm. Everything has its value, and everything appeals to different people.
Yeah, you can skip Voyager. You can skip Voyager.
I liked Voyager.
We have a couple more questions.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your question.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi guys, I'm really nervous to be here. Sorry.
What was that?
I'm really nervous to be here. I was on the Transformers 1 train, and one of the things, because I was thinking about, one, they don't call Transformers 2 Transformers 2. I think they're missing an opportunity. But the fact that the society, the Energon's back, the resources thing is cleared. But now we have a bunch of societal problems with the fact that we've got all these miners that don't have cogs. Are they going to get cogs and then be introduced into society? Where society was already like, you're a miner. Gross. I don't think we should be together. So I was thinking maybe, what do we think that? And then the society of the people that are like, you were once cogless and now you have it. Will they then become Decepticons because they don't like what's happening now with that?
Well, my idea on that is that they were taken. The cogs were taken, right, when they were born.
We'll give them back.
Where are they?
That was my question.
Right? Did he destroy them? They got to be stored somewhere. They just get them back, right? Like, can they just get them back somehow?
Right. Well, they were all given back at the end of the movie. I feel like didn't that happen at the very end of the movie? Everyone got their cogs back.
It's glazed over, but they do get their cogs back. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Primus Magic found all the cogs and gave them back to their rightful owners.
Basically,
it's Primus Magic.
So someone mentioned if we had questions, comments, or concerns. So I have something that's a little bit kind of all three, completely unrelated to Transformers 1. You bet. Do you guys plan on having like a huge podcast crossover, like a fun episode with everyone? If so, what topic would you guys be interested in covering?
Transformers 1.
Deal. You're looking at it right now.
Dissection of Transformers 1.
And we will
Triple Takeover already did that.
Yeah, but it's all of us all talking about a massive.
You're kind of looking at it right now.
If we got this many different podcasts together, it would not be 3 hours. It would be like 12 hours.
Yeah. I mean, you know, TFW going, are they done yet? Are they done yet? Are they done yet?
We'll see you in December. All right, go ahead.
For the folks on the panel who were on the same podcast, how did you guys meet and how did you decide to start a podcast again?
Okay, a relevant question.
They stalked me online.
Yeah. So as Trish said, basically the entirety of More Than Meets the Ear was I stalked some people online.
Yeah.
TFcon Online was an online Transformers convention that happened during 2020, and from various panels that Trish and one of our other podcasters, Susan, were involved in, I like kind of liked their vibes and reached out to them through Twitter, proposing the idea to start this podcast. And then Stuart was another podcaster who's not. He never comes to TFcon because he lives in Texas, apparently. But he was. I was already friends with him through other social medias. But basically, I just randomly reached out, said, "Hey, do we want to start talking about this thing?" They took a few days to go, "Who is this weirdo?" Sure. Mm-hmm. Then we all kind of met on a voice chat just to test one another's vibes. Like, do we all work together? Yeah, we kind of do. All right, let's try this thing.
Yeah. And then for Swerves, I know the initial two other my co-hosts are Onyx and Kilobyte. And how did you two meet?
We met through the Transformers TCG card game when that was a thing. And we started talking about our favorite seasons and all that, and that I kind of revitalized my love for Transformers. And so from there, Onyx went to a convention in Vegas, and he met Clickbait.
Yeah, but he didn't know it was me when he reached out to me.
No, he just met an Optimus, and so he's like, "Optimus, do you want to be on the podcast?" And Optimus said yes. But we were doing our D&D at that time, and we felt like we needed more cast. We only had two players at the same time, and like it felt like we needed to add more characters and more spice and more vibes to it. And so that's where we reached out and be like, "Hey, do you want to play with us?" And she was like, "Yeah."
They stalked me online.
We did not.
I don't think Onyx is actually back there. He asked one of the prior questions. Did you, when we met in Vegas, did you say that you wanted me to be on the podcast, or was that two completely separate interactions?
It wasn't a thing back then.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And then you rediscovered me on something and stalked me on the internet.
I was like, she sounds hyper. She'd make a great player for sure.
And then, so basically two separate podcasts stalked me on the internet.
Cool. I got my start with, my gateway was through Transmissions. I've known them since, North Carolina TFcon?
Yeah, actually, I remember meeting you at BotCon 2014, but I didn't know. I think you weren't aware of the podcast, but that was because that was my first BotCon. But I remember because you guys are always wearing the matching outfits, and I met you guys wearing the matching outfits. So that was the first time. But then we met again at maybe it was 2015 or maybe several times. Yeah.
And I was like, and I started listening to the show. I just started listening in, chiming in, and you all were very engaging in your conversations. And I was like, man, I can hang out with these dudes. Let me roll with them for a minute. And so over time, as we got closer and during my voiceover journey, they allowed me to do some of the bumper, because I gave them some samples of some of the sample voice work that I do. And they was like, oh, you got to do the bumpers. Like you do Victor Caroline. And so I started doing their bumpers for them, and then I started doing the end credits for Empire of Rust. During that time, I got to meet the Realm of Collectors around 2016 through Bobby Skullface, because we hung out pretty frequently back then, and got to hang out with each other. He introduced me to a guy named Chris Pinkerton. When I met Chris, that's when I got introduced to the Realm. Didn't really have my foot all the way into the group and everything as I was trying to, get to know him. Because, how many of you know the story of, meeting people online that you've never met in person, and then all of a sudden you all have an interest, and then you become best friends, and then you got to explain to some of your spouses that, I'm going to meet some strangers in a certain state that, I've never met before, and I'll be back home next week. How many of y'all had that story? I had. But, it was just synchronization at the time, and, over time after being involved with the group, they were actually actively doing podcasts and then conversations based on our interest. They had me come on and, talk about some things. We were literally talking about Transformers we purchased, and, we're doing live openings and giving our expressed opinions about it and all of that, and then it turned into a whole bigger thing. And as a result of that, at the point where I'm at now. So yeah, it's a cool thing to come, like I said, cool thing to come to these shows and actually interact with people that I don't know personally, but they know me, and they'll come up to me, yeah, I've heard you on a thing. I was like, yeah, cool, thanks, and, we strike up a conversation, But yeah, it's cool to almost feel like movie stars, but we're not movie stars, but, people like what we're doing, they like what we say, and they just come up to you and say, hey, thanks, and, they identify us and give us their own stories and whatnot, and it's a feel-good moment to know that, and I'm sure y'all have heard this before, how, your podcast changed my life, and, or I like listening to your podcast on my way to work, and I like, hearing about the things that y'all are talking about. So yeah, it's a cool thing to hear about that.
We're so cool.
But, this is where it started. This is really where it started all right here, Radio Free Cybertron.
Yeah, I was not there at the beginning for RFC. If those of you who don't know me, my name is Headmaster Don, HMRC for EVR, Headmaster RC forever. Yeah.
We do know the start, Don.
Yeah, I know.
The master of Dononomics.
The master of Dononomics. But I asked Hasbro the same question for over 20 years. When are we getting Headmaster RC? And that was kind of my thing. Brian Kilby, who started RFC in '99, knew of me, and he invited me on one of the podcasts when BotCon was in Texas one year. Don't ask me, it's all a blur. 2012, thank you. My mother passed away later on that year, and thank you. And about 2013, Brian asked me to come on the show, and I've been on RFC for over 10 years now, and they've become, they're my brothers. And you were kind of right, because this is plastic crack. So if you stop and think about it, so it is kind of like we're all drug dealers. We're all enablers. Like, hey, I found this sale online, and I'll send it to them, and it's like, I'm trying to get them to buy something. They're trying to get me to buy something. We're trying to get Diecast to buy something, although that's not hard to do. But so yeah, I became part of RFC about 2013, and it's been crazy, even disregarding the Massey attacks. So, but that's how I got involved with everything.
All right, so yeah, we started Transmissions in 2013, and actually Jeremy, who's not here, he was the one who actually got us all together. He was the one who was interested in doing a podcast, and he put out a message on Reddit to ask for, see if anyone else was interested. So we went to the Transformers subreddit and asked for, just solicited volunteers, and Darryl was one of the volunteers. I actually was not on Reddit, but we had, Jeremy and I had a connection because we were both in Pittsburgh, and we were like just two Transformers fans who randomly connected in Pittsburgh because he heard me doing a guest spot on another podcast, which was The Underbase, which was a Transformers comics podcast that it's no longer publishing right now, but it was doing, at the time, doing all the IDW comics. And he listened to that and heard me on that and connected to me on Facebook, and then he asked me if I wanted to go on the podcast too. So we all kind of got together, and we just, did just met online. We were all in different places except for Jeremy and I were in the same city, but we were still met online, and we just, started talking to each other, and kept going for the last 11 years. So we all, just like what Derek said, people you meet online, you find that right vibe, it all just kind of meshes together, it just works. That's what happened with Transmissions, and we've been continuing to go since then. So, and I would never have gone to any Transformers conventions. I would never have gone to BotCon. I'd never gone to TFcon if I had not been able to be a part of Transmissions. So I'm really grateful for and just meeting making all the new friends, all the new people I've met here. It's just been an awesome experience.
I would just add one other thing to that. Is it just I've done panels at some local cons in my area about podcasting, like podcasting 101, because Pete got really popular there for a hot minute. And, for people that want to start a podcast, it's super simple to do, and it's actually gotten way easier in the last 11 years than when we first started it. It was ridiculously hard. Not that I helped, but the idea of starting a podcast as just one person doing it by yourself, that's almost impossible. So the motivator for me has always been the fact that the other guys are going to be on and they're waiting for me, right? So I got to go and do the podcast because Jeremy and Charles are waiting for me to join. And that's been my motivator, right? So having somebody else who's kind of, you're motivating each other to kind of do it. And if there's a team, you become like a band, right? And then that, you're working with each other to kind of motivate each other to kind of get this show out. And one person doing it on their own, you can say, oh, I don't want to record tonight. I'm going to push it back a week. And then that becomes a month. And then before you know it, you haven't recorded in a year and you're done, right? And it's the consistency of just keeping up with it and just putting out regular episodes after episodes. And that's the key of doing the podcast, is just keeping it consistent, right? And that regular motivation. We've picked a day that we record. We record on Sunday nights, and we just, like clockwork, we meet, and it's just done. Our wives are just, they've become used to it. It's part of the weekly routine, right? And that's it. That's what they say to us. But but it's one of those things that anyone can start a podcast at this point, right? It takes very little technical knowledge anymore, but what it takes is the motivation, and that is the killer if you don't have it.
All right, I think we've ran really long now, so I think we do have to wrap it up here. So maybe we'll end with everyone just giving another shout out for the podcast, how you can find your stuff online, and then we'll sign off. So go ahead.
We are Swerve's Bar Podcast on YouTube, on Spotify, on Twitter, on Blue Sky, on Threads, Instagram. You can find us there. I do have a card that has a QR code. Once we're done, you can scan it. It'll be easier to find our link tree there. And then for the other podcasts, they're all connected to our YouTube. So if you go to the Swerve's Bar, you'll be able to find the Transformer and Rollout for the D&D and the Swerve's Bar Plays for our video game shenanigans. So.
Yeah, like Hilo said, and then if anyone wants a physical card, I have some extras of those. I am glad we were finishing this up because I was about to tap out from cold. And so I will let Josh handle the More Than Meets the Ear part.
You can find More Than Meets the Ear on Spotify. We also have a Twitter. We do have a Facebook account. We don't really use it all that much.
We use it when people interact with it, but nobody interacts with it.
Yeah, there's that. But we're... Spotify, Google Podcasts, basically everything that the podcast distributor thing that I use throws it out to, we're on there somewhere.
Anywhere the pods are cast?
That's the thing Mike Seibert always says.
Yeah. You can find me, Derek Bigsby, on your Book of Faces. You can also find me on our Realm of Collectors YouTube channel. We air our shows Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday nights, usually around 8 or 9 p.m. You can find me particularly on Enter the Realm, which is on Monday nights, the best part of your Monday. That's at 8 p.m. And you can also find me on Do You Even Transform Bro every other Tuesday night. We'll actually have a show this coming Tuesday night. And you can also find me on Instagram as Derek What B. That's my moniker. And you can find me at literally all of your conventions wherever you go. So, yeah, that's where you find me.
You can find us at tfradio.net, where all of our history of podcasts can be found. We broadcast live every Wednesday at 8:30. We can be found on YouTube and on Spotify, for those of you that like to use Spotify. Individually, you can find us on Twitter or Blue Sky. Just look for the TF Radio moniker and follow us from there. You can become a Patreon at tfradio.net/Patreon, and there's some bonuses. You can even be on some of our shows, things like that. So yeah, that's pretty much where you can find us.
All right, and Transmissions is at transmissionspodcast.com. So all our shows go up every Wednesday and Friday, and then every other Monday. And we're on all the social media. We're on YouTube. So we do our podcasts are all audio and video. So the video's on YouTube, the audio's on RSS feed, and also Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon. Anywhere you can put a podcast link, we've got it up there. So if you just search for Transmissions on all those places, you'll find it. But if you want to go straight to the source, it's transmissionspodcast.com. So thanks, everyone, for hanging out, staying really late. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Everyone drive safe, and we'll see y'all next year.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Transmissions. If you'd like to join the conversation, travel to our Discord channel at transmissionspodcast.com/Discord. Want some cool transmission swag? Feast your eyes on our transmissions gear at transmissionspodcast.com/shop. If you'd like to support our podcast, go to transmissionspodcast.com/support or tell your friends about our show. We'll see you next time.